Hey everybody, welcome to Switched On with Paul Modderman and James Wood. I am Paul Modderman, and of course, as always, evermore, forever, James Wood is here. Say hi, James.
Hi there, everyone.
And it as per usual on these navel gazing asides, these quick flips as we call them, James and I are just like scratching our heads and pondering, I guess, kind of the universe around us in terms of in terms of software and especially enterprise software. And the question has come down, and James posed this question very well in our two-man chat here. Is vanilla enterprise software realistic? And the impetus for that question is hearing a lot about, various things like keeping the core digital core clean, um, keeping solutions away from the big pieces. Like, what is it about? What is James? Let me ask you. Let me try to ask you this way. Why do you think it is that vendors would love for their customers to keep the enterprise software vanilla?
Well, I think it certainly lessens the load that some of these vendors have to carry. I mean, in our space, I mean, working around SAP, I mean, you think about
Yeah, no kidding.
them having to support. I think I heard an anecdote. Was it last year they finally turned off the last R2 system? So I mean, just having to support a code base across a global
This
customer base
across
and
the centuries, yeah.
every industry known to man and all of it. I mean, it's a lot, and I think anytime you see vendors like this trying to move into a SaaS world, they're trying to consolidate and simplify, and just get to a place where there's not as much. I guess baggage, and so
Yeah.
the more customizations that we can eliminate, they can maybe finally take away the keys to the ABAP workbench and some of these other things that just make their life easier.
So on the flip side, do customers want vanilla enterprise software that is like buy it and do nothing with it? Like do they want it and can they have it? You know what I mean?
I think it maybe depends on who you're talking to. I mean, like if you're talking to the IT department, probably yeah, they absolutely want it. But I I think just in our experience over the years, I mean, talking to especially like the 10, 15 years ago, this conversation was so different because a customer would standardize on SAP or Oracle, and it's like we're an SAP shop, we're an Oracle shop. So any department in the company that comes knocking on IT's door saying, "Hey, we need a package to do whatever it is," IT would go, "Here, this is what our preferred vendor supplies," and
And hammer it through that
maybe it
hole
fits
and
you
there you
in.
go. Yeah.
Maybe it fits your business and maybe it doesn't, and it's a lot for some of these departments to just absorb some of these more generic solutions.
I think the question really it dovetails with our recent set of discussions on IT meeting the needs of the business because I think it is probably the case that the world will maybe always is a strong word foregoing some kind of Skynet situation, right? But generally speaking, the world will always be more complex than the software that represents the world. And so having software that runs the core of your business be delivered to you from a place that's not your business to your business and then just simply doing things magically all together all in one Shazam, it's untenable. It can't be it could either you do it and then you just slop off the things that you don't do right, or you do it and then you like make up the difference with the mortar between the bricks or whatever that stuff is you put between bricks as you lay bricks, right? Like you have to do stuff to make the vanilla be good enough to eat, right? Like I don't ever like vanilla ice cream all by itself. I need sprinkles or chocolate syrup or whatever. I mean, chocolate syrup is what I need, but like something like that to make the vanilla ice cream just edible. Otherwise, I don't even want to eat it. And I think that's maybe part of what like businesses who want vanilla software or who think they want vanilla software. I don't even know if they. Is it weird to say I don't even know if businesses actually want vanilla enterprise software? Because I don't think they actually. I think people's businesses are always going to be more complex than software, and so delivering software to businesses will always be a job of more than just like Control C, Control V. Here's your copy of the software, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a worthy goal. I mean, especially from the IT side of it, I can see the argument. I can see. I mean, for some of these companies, this is probably the second or third time they've faced this. I mean, I know
Yeah,
when I broke into this space, so many of the projects I was working on were mainframe replacements, where you think mainframe archaic, but I mean, the mainframe was so tailored to the way that different parts of the business operated that even if we swapped out a mainframe for a snazzy web solution, a lot of times the end user experience was, oh man, you took away all this functionality. I can't
yeah,
do what I used to do. I'm not nearly as productive. And I think what you saw there was just the result of years and years of tinkering and customizing and
yeah,
enhancing. And it's a good thing for the business, but as those mainframe developers started to retire and leave the company, and now you've got this technical debt situation on your hands, and that is a real problem. I think the problem in going to either extreme though is that if I draw a hard line in the sand and say we're not going to enhance anything, well, how effective are my business processes really going to be?
yeah,
Now I'm 100% reliant on the vendor to we always kind of joke about the best run companies. I mean, you know is the out of the box business process the best thing for each and every company, each and every department? And
yeah. And like, I think the answer is no. I think the answer is you still are going to need to do something. And I don't even know what that something is. Whether it's like a layer two or layer three around your digital core kind of thing, or whether it's still customizing the nuts and bolts inside something. I'm not sure, but my gut says having vanilla and keeping it vanilla is just never going to be enough by itself. If I may be so space cadet-y for the moment, like big software that runs businesses or helps businesses run has been around more or less 50 years, right? And especially more or less 20 years, 30 years, right? But I mean, roughly the start of SAP is roughly the start of software that helps businesses really run. It's earlier than that for sure, but that's part of the growth of it, right?
Yep.
So literally the definition of what software is, I think has changed two or three times at least in the course of that time. So I almost think that like maybe we're asking the wrong things of ourselves or the wrong things of our customers or vendors or whatever to say yes or no, you can or can't change your software. Yes or no, you can or can't do business process, this, that, whatever. Like whatever software is always going to be in motion. And we should expect to always be in motion somehow alongside it. Like, 'cause I think, man, I'm just wandering off into space here. I'm so sorry. Like human ingenuity uh, is going to continue to warp software in different ways, and human ingenuity is going to continue to warp businesses in different ways. That, like, can the twain ever meet? Like they exert pressures on each other, right? Part of what people say about digital transformation is that digital transformation unlocks new avenues for your business. So in
Mhm.
that case, the argument is that not that your software should be static, but that your software literally changes your business because of what you did with the information and the stuff with your software. So
Yeah.
so in that case, in the case of digital transformation, like, do you even like vanilla shouldn't even be the goal in some respect for that, because vanilla carries, to me, it carries this kind of weight of like unchanging. I'm sure that's not what it really is supposed to mean, but like it carries a weight of unchangingness to it. And
Yeah.
I think better to be just like, running their sixth grade basketball drills of like doing the defense and going back and forth, and then the coach makes you run laps and you do it again and you run laps and do it again, like, and then just being ready for whatever happens. That's what digital transformation should be, is digitally being ready for things to be different than they were yesterday.
Well, I think it's kind of a tortured analogy, I suppose, but I mean, operating in the circles that we operate, there's so many technologies that have come along that, I remember when web services first came out, we're never using message oriented middleware again. We're not using this, it's like, okay, SOAP has its place and
Mm.
there are some benefits, but, why are you just dismissing, decades literally of best practice
Yeah, yeah.
and in your architecture? And I think that's kind of true here, where you have to have that sense of understanding and your guidelines, I suppose, to figure out, okay, if we're talking about changing up financial accounting and replacing debits and credits with some cockamamie thing, just like
Web
probably
three
accounting
crypto.
is
Yeah.
is yeah, I mean, the new general ledger built on blockchain, or like that's maybe not where you want to go, but I think not to ring the low code bell one more time, but
Here we go.
it's a little bit about reducing the overhead. I mean, obviously, the more and more customization you build, there's a cost of ownership there that has to be accounted for. But I don't think you can look at that cost and say, I want that to go to zero, and I want my business just to kind of power through.
Mm.
There's got to be a middle ground.
Yeah. By the way, you need to put $10 in the low code jar, since you brought it up, because
Dang it.
pretty soon we'll be funding my daughter's college education from that jar. uh, that's yeah. I think that's a good. I mean, I think that's a decent kind of key to end on here. Is change is real, change is happening, and enterprise software has to be ready to do change, whether that fits the definition of vanilla or not. Change has got to be accessible and ready, because both the software itself and the business themselves are always changing anyway, right? So change is the constant in enterprise software. So if you want a vanilla solution, it's got to be equipped to always be changing. That's
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, there just has to be some level of pragmatism to this. I
Yeah.
mean, it's an interesting topic, especially nowadays. With S4, and probably a very real problem for a lot of customers that are looking at. I just spent gazillions on this upgrade. We're never ever doing that again. We're never ever custom. No more custom
Mm,
mob up. And
yep.
I get it, but
Yep.
it's you can't say no to everything.
You can't say no to everything, ladies and gentlemen. That is the final thought from James Wood here on our Switch to On Quick Flip. You can't say no to everything. That's I think that just fits the bill of what we do, both
Yeah.
both our business, but also just the world in general. Um, yeah. So I guess with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave you with to ponder that question yourselves along with us, and we'll hit you up next week with some more stuff about. I think we have an exciting new season coming up pretty soon. So we will end our current season and start a new season coming up pretty soon here. So be ready for that. But in any case, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.